Recently, I'm more into quick and easy recipes. Recipes that can be done with the ingredients that may already be in your pantry. At the same time, it will be very delicious, and who doesn't like an easy recipe that will be super delicious? Namaskar and welcome to Curries with Bumbi. The very first thing you need to do is to prep the yogurt. Here is some plain unflavored yogurt. In it goes a teaspoon of turmeric powder, 2 teaspoons of Kashmiri red chili powder. Though Kashmiri chili powder is mild in terms of heat, but still I would suggest to adjust the proportion according to your preference, because something mild to me may not be the same for you. I also added a tablespoon of ground coriander, a fourth of a teaspoon of black pepper powder, and a fourth of a cup of water. You can also add a teaspoon of ground cumin if you like. Next, mix very well so that you get a smooth texture. Always take out the yogurt from the refrigerator 30 minutes before it hits that hot pan. If you use yogurt straight from the refrigerator, then that sudden temperature difference will lead the yogurt to split. Heat a pot with 3 tablespoons of oil over medium heat. Here are some whole spices that I am using: a dry bay leaf, a tiny bit of cinnamon stick, and 2 green cardamoms. If you are into Indian cooking, then these whole spices should always be in your pantry. Remember one thing, my friend, that is to never add onions in super hot oil that is smoking. Add onions in hot oil but not super hot, because then the onions will brown up immediately, but that's not what we want. You need to brown the onions gradually to bring out its sweetness, and that will bring in so much flavor to the gravy. And that's how your onions will melt in the gravy as well. I also added 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt to the onions to help them soften down faster. Stir the onions very frequently so that they get fried evenly. You do not need to brown them up into deep dark color, but a light golden brown color along the edges is good enough. Next, I added a tablespoon of ginger garlic paste. Stir on medium heat for about a minute. Then the chicken goes in. Since it is a quick recipe, I chose boneless, skinless chicken thighs, but you can also use chicken with bones. The cooking time will be more in that case. Stir the chicken on medium-high heat. Frying the chicken along with onions and ginger and garlic develops flavor, and Indian cuisine is all about building up flavors step by step without rushing. Okay, so if you are using chicken with bones, you need to fry the chicken till all the water that comes out from the chicken dries up. The initial moisture released from the chicken needs to be dried out in order to get a flavorful gravy. Since I am using boneless chicken, it didn't release much water, which should make you happy because it will be quick. When everything looks dry like this, I added 1 heaped teaspoon of my homemade ghee. You can also use melted butter. Next, lower the heat to the lowest mark or switch off the heat of your stove if you are cooking on an electric stove, because it is yogurt time and yogurt needs all this pampering so that it doesn't split. Immediately after adding the yogurt, start stirring. If you had switched off your stove, switch it back on and keep stirring on medium-low heat till you see bubbles. When you see those bubbles, you can give a little rest to your tired hand. And now is the time to add a teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of sugar to balance the flavors. But as I always say, sugar is optional. Now there is enough liquid, so I won't be adding any water now. Cover it on medium-low heat for 15 minutes. From time to time, remember to uncover and give a stir to prevent anything from sticking at the bottom of the pot. Because if the masala settles at the bottom, then it can burn, and we are not making a chicken recipe today with burnt and bitter masala. Okay, now if you see the gravy has dried up a lot, then add some hot water. So keep some hot water handy. I didn't find the need to add any water. After 15 minutes, as you can see, the gravy has thickened up. Do a taste test and adjust the seasonings if required. Next, I added half a teaspoon of kasoori methi, that is dried fenugreek leaves. If you do not have kasoori methi, just leave it out. Or you can also use dried thyme. Thyme is not at all a substitute for kasoori methi, but it will also bring in a beautiful flavor to the chicken. I also added half a cup of heavy cream and about a tablespoon of chopped coriander leaves. As things were looking too yellow, I added a teaspoon of sweet paprika to bring in that slight red color. I know, adding sweet paprika is not at all authentic when it comes to Indian cuisine, and I could have happily added more Kashmiri red chili powder. But what if I do not want any more of chili heat? That's when I take advantage of sweet paprika. When you're cooking in your own kitchen, use whatever you like and try experimenting with things available at your place. That's the fun of cooking. I also added a teaspoon of garam masala powder and finally few whole green chilies, which is optional. Then cover on medium-low heat for 10 more minutes. After 10 minutes, lift off and you will be greeted with this gorgeous looking deliciousness. Add a little more of coriander leaves and you're done. Serve this with naan or paratha or plain white rice. And I'm telling you, my friends, it will be relished and appreciated by everyone whom you will be serving this because it is truly very delicious. Please click that like button for me and I will see you next time. Bye bye.